It might be easier with the use the ladders to make sure you don't hit them. Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here with, of course, Fitness. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, I go crazy without you guys, man. So, in case you guys didn't know it, if it's war you want, it's war you shall have. Seriously, I'm here at war. I'm at war with ignorant people that don't know what they're talking about. And by the way, let me ask a question while I'm here. Good afternoon, how are you doing? Trying to let my beard grow. Trying to let it grow and fill in. Now there's a lot of white in here. Thoughts on letting this thing grow. Wife likes it, wants to see how it'll look full. Thoughts? Ideas? What do you think? Too old for it? Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The Dallas Cowboys have a problem. And that is they got a quarterback who wants to get paid. The Dallas Cowboys don't want to pay the quarterback. And all the talking heads out there love talking about the Dallas Cowboys and giving them advice on what they should do. We've heard, go get Tom Brady because that's a better quarterback. He'll win you the Super Bowl and he'll be less money, even though we're hearing he wants over $30 million. We hear, trade for Derek Carr. He'll save you some money, but you're hearing that other teams want to get that guy. And that guy had Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper really didn't do much with him as his quarterback. I've heard some people say, Philip Rivers. Let's go for a swim with Rivers. Pocket quarterback. They're a dinosaur. You need a quarterback that can actually move around in the pocket and get you some, ultimately, yards with his legs. That ain't Philip Rivers. In fact, you're seeing the death of the pocket quarterback. I've heard draft. You need a first-round guy because, unless they come from the first round, they're not going to be a good quarterback. And so you need to get like a number like, say, a Jameis Winston, a Marcus Mariota, a Jamarcus Russell. That'll be the answer. But even if you hit on a quarterback, you're going to have to wait some time to get there. So, Emmitt Smith said today, Dak Prescott needs to understand he needs to take a team-friendly deal. That he should settle for $28 million to help the team out. And I'm not saying that, and don't get me wrong, what would be great is if everybody on the team said, you know what, I'm going to take a team-friendly deal so that way we can bring in more players. So we can bring in more players and win Super Bowl.
More money.
That would be great if everybody did that. Because, see, Emmitt Smith didn't say that when Zeke held out with 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah, but see,
having already been paid.
That's still generational wealth if you take a discount.
Well, I agree with that. I'm not disputing that.
I'm just saying that.
But listen, there's no quarterback out there that's taking a team-friendly deal. Your running back, your punter has made more money than your quarterback. And I get it. When you talk about D-Law had made, over $20 million and stuff. He had the franchise tag, got $17 million. I can understand you say, D-Law, why don't you take a team-friendly deal? You play for the Cowboys. You've already gotten some money. When you think that Jeff Heath has made more money than your quarterback. So how are you going to ask the guy who hasn't been paid jack to take another one for the team. Because, see, even Emmitt Smith, after winning the Super Bowl, did Emmitt take a team-friendly deal? Emmitt held out to get paid. Well, you know, most quarterbacks don't win the Super Bowl in the first couple of years. I think Drew Brees, I think it was his 7th year when he won the Super Bowl. And the thing about this is we keep hearing that quarterbacks win the Super Bowl by themselves. I'm sorry, you look at Baltimore, you look at the defense. The defenses of Baltimore, I believe, helped them win Super Bowls. I look at Terry Bradshaw, who had the steel curtain. I look at Roger Staubach, who had the doomsday defense. I look at the 85 Bears with that defense. I look at quarterbacks that either have a great coach like Bill Belichick or have a good team all the way around. I have never seen just a great quarterback with nobody else in the team. I don't ever remember seeing that. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Now, I have seen Trent Dilfer being not a great quarterback that won a Super Bowl, but he had a hell of a team around him. And, you know, we talk about Dak just being garbage. You know, he can't win big ones. Well, he beat Russell Wilson in the playoffs, didn't he? Didn't he go toe for toe and throw 3 touchdowns and 300 yards against Aaron Rodgers, and it was just a miracle play where the defense didn't stop him? That ended up beating him when the defense let him get up 21-3. Dak either takes 30. But how is it that you can tell Dak you need to take a team-friendly deal when Jared Goff didn't? The guy who got 3 points in the Super Bowl. And Jacoby Brissett, who's going to be replaced, he got 27 last year.
Yeah, Prescott agent ain't gonna let him take a free.
Right.
Just tell him, yo, he wanna get paid.
And
He wanna get paid.
so Pat Mahomes, is he supposed to take a discount because he gonna get money too? Because they got the same agent. And Carson Wentz had the same agent, right?
Jared Goff and what's the other dude's name? Aaron Rodgers all the same agent.
So
last I checked, they're all the same agent.
And they talk about Drew Brees is coming back, and that he's looking for exits and retires. So there's no quarterback out there that's not looking. No quarterback is looking at getting under $30 million anymore. Yet we got Emmitt Smith, who he's going to toe the line for the Dallas Cowboys, much like Michael Irvin did with his bomb that he dropped and then walked back. That these are ploys to try and sell you guys that Dak Prescott is greedy. In fact, it's funny because this morning I'm looking at Bleacher Report and I see one of the talking heads out there is doing oh, you got your shelves yesterday, Mike? How were they? You take some pictures and send them to me. But they were doing a podcast. And they were saying, is Dak Prescott greedy? That was the title of the podcast. Wait. It's like, hold on. So, whoa.
But Dak Prescott doesn't listen to the media again.
No, I know he does it. But see, this is where the media is turning everybody against Dak. So wait a minute. So the guy who's averaged less than $1 million a year, you're saying is greedy.
Yeah, greedy.
That's what the headline was. That Dak Prescott, he needs to take a team. It's like, really? Zeke, you could say was greedy because he still had 2 years left and he ended up doing it. You could say DeMarcus Lawrence was greedy, getting his money. But now the guy who has not been paid jack, he's the greedy one? Come on, man. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
World will never know.
know what greedy is? Hold on, let me give you guys greedy. Because as we talk about this, Minnesota is hamstrung because of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, think about this. Wait. Kirk Cousins got over 2 years, $45 million from the extra franchise tag from the Redskins. Turns around, signs an $87 million deal for 3 years, in which case, right now, Minnesota has no cap room, and they're going to have to gut the team. He will leave Minnesota, or they will have to do a long-term deal with them, which would, they may have to do that if they believe he's the guy, and do that to save some money on that cap hit they're going to take this year. But he's going to sign another deal. You think he's going to say, you know what? I've already made like $127 million. I'm going to take a team-friendly deal now. Cousins is a bust. But, Jason, how is Dak a bigger bust? Kirk Cousins is 1-6 against Dak. Let me say that again. Kirk Cousins has one victory over Dak Prescott.
He just won his first playoff game, too.
And just got his first playoff win. Okay, and this was a team, he took over a team that was in the NFC Championship the year before. So, and he's going to get paid too. He going to get paid again. So that guy is probably going to make over $200 million in his career. And yet we got a quarterback who has won 2 divisions. His numbers are getting better every year. And they say, oh no, you need to take a team-friendly deal. Come on, man. Come on. It would be different, I would say, yeah. I would look at this differently if that's what other people were doing. If other quarterbacks were saying, you know what, I'm all about winning, I'm not going to take a whole lot of money, so I leave money for everybody else. If other quarterbacks are doing that, then I would say, yes, you should do that. But how am I supposed to be the only one to do that? And here's where I'll give you another one too. Because Emmitt, you know I love you, Emmitt Smith. Emmitt, you know I love you, Emmitt Smith. Okay? I bought my suitcase at your store at the airport. You know, I even did a video about it and all that. I have your Pro Viva, you know, your company. I get every time they come up to Chantilly, when they come up in April, you know, I'll go through, get my stuff, you know.
You know why? It's free for Dallas Cowboys.
Well, but still, regardless, I promoted your company, man. I listen, I love you, Emmitt. But Emmitt, come on, man. Come on, man. Really? Your whole thing of, because you are a Dallas Cowboy, you can make more money, which is true. Because you're part of, I agree with that. They can have over $120 million. You look at, I can tell you 2 moves that we can get $13 million right now. Tyrone Crawford coming back from hip surgery. You save $8.5 million by cutting him. Cam Fleming, who, when he's had to play, has not done that good. That's another $4.5 million. Okay. In fact, you can take that $13 million, you can re-sign Robert Quinn. Just saying. You know, you could take a pen and you could take Zach Martin, who has been an All-Pro every year of his career, and say, you know what? We're going to reduce your salary to $1 million this year. We're going to take that money and convert it into guarantee money and spread it out. That's another $7.5 million right there that won't actually cost you any more money. So that's $20 million right there you can get if you determine that you need to do that. Understand that the Eagles last year at this time were $25 million in the red. But they got Wentz's deal done, as well as signing a lot of free agents. Now, a lot of those free agents didn't pan out for them, but that's because they believed Deshaun Jackson was still going to be D Jackson when they first drafted him, and not realizing that his ass is old. But be that as it may, it didn't preclude them from trying to get the people that they wanted. But Emmitt, here's the thing. I get what you're saying, and it's true. It's an ideal situation if your quarterback, if everybody will take less money and the team then uses it to get other players. You also need to go ahead and put into that, if you're going to say that's what Pat Mahomes. Mark, what are you talking about? Pat Mahomes deserves to get as much money as possible. I'm not saying that he doesn't. Dude has been about winning, or is it about making sure you get the most money you can? Because Pat Mahomes has got a Super Bowl ring, right? They have $13 million in cap space. They have 27 free agents. So if you're looking at paying him $40 million, you're going to have to not only be able to re-sign those other players, you're going to have to restructure some guys, or you're going to have to let some people go. You're going to have to gut the team to pay him. In which case you look at Pat Mahomes and say, hey, Pat Mahomes, buddy. Pat Mahomes. Dude, you're already getting endorsements. You are the Super Bowl MVP. You have taken a team that has not won the Super Bowl in 50 years. You own the city of Kansas City. Okay? You own Kansas City. Okay? You're going to make a boatload of money. You're going to make a boatload of money in endorsements. You've already been paid by State Farm. Dude, let's see if we can keep this team together. Let's see if we can keep this team together. Let's see if we can win a few more of those. Because everybody here is going to say, we won the Super Bowl, I want more money. And we're going to lose people. And we want to keep winning. So why don't you take a team-friendly deal instead of $40 million plus? Because that's what you're, I mean, isn't that the same thing? Am I wrong? And somehow, am I lying on that?
Today's not going for that.
You're the Super Bowl MVP. You're going to get all kinds of endorsements. We got a lot of free agents and we want to keep a team around you.
Today's not going to go for all that.
Or is this a case of where you guys believe that it's only the quarterback? You don't need to have anybody else. Des Smith, yes, actually, I did compare the situation because you're saying that the quarterback should take team-friendly deals to save money for. Right, Sam Gold, quarterback out there right now who's talking about being under $30 million. There's no quarterback out there talking about being under $30 million. But yet we got Emmitt Smith saying he should take a contract for 28. Huh? 28 was the high number 2 years ago. Okay, how about this one? How about Deshaun Watson? If you don't like me using Pat Mahomes, should Deshaun Watson, who's waiting for Pat Mahomes to get his deal, he ain't thinking about a discount. Should he take a discount? Should he look and say, you know what, I want to win a Super Bowl, so let me take less money so we can have that money spent on other players? Because he's in the same boat as Dak Prescott. Am I wrong? They got less money than the Cowboys do. They have less money than the Cowboys do. They've got a lot of holes that they need to fill as well. And he's got basically the same stats. 1 and 2 in the playoffs, same as Dak Prescott. Junebug! What's up, Junebug? You back Dak and the Houston Roughnecks. That's cool.
Well, he's Roughnecks is number 2 that's in the conference. So.
I'm sitting there talking to you guys not getting the ceiling painted. That was 100 times better than it did before.
Especially with this porch right here. A little better. They're not 2 tons.
You're just a Dak Prescott fan. It's like, Yeah, I'm a Dak Prescott fan, and I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I understand the dynamics of playing quarterback.
What did they say? They said, oh, you like Dak Prescott, you look like his son.
Well, yeah, because, well, y'all do resemble each other, but that has nothing to do.
Dak Prescott doesn't believe his son.
Oh, but be careful saying that now, Mike, because you know how the shit gets started. People will say that Dak Prescott is my son.
But the thing is, though, Dak Prescott doesn't listen to the media.
Oh, I know he doesn't. And I'm wasting my breath trying to.
So Dak Prescott was probably never.
Yeah, let TMZ come out with that though.
And
That Mark Holmes is really Dak Prescott's dad.
And Dak Prescott said, okay, amen. That's the type of person is, you don't care about social media.
What's up, everybody? Mark. You know what? I wouldn't be mad if he did. I'd applaud him and say, hey, I'm glad that he's looking out for it. In the same sense, I hope that the Dallas Cowboys would actually do something with it. But if you look at everybody else on the team, ain't nobody taking a team-friendly deal. Ain't nobody. And the funny thing is, here's the funniest thing about all this.
Tom Brady's close to
We are fighting over this and saying how greedy he is. And the funny thing is, 2 years from now, this contract is going to look like a steal. It's going to look like a steal. How come I don't spray? I've got a sprayer. It's actually down the country and stuff. I'm doing multiple colors. I didn't feel like going down there and getting it. And I'm just not a big spray guy. I'm just kind of old school, I guess you could say. And I don't do enough painting where it warrants using a sprayer. But I'd understand if you said to him, hey, look, man, you know, DeMarcus Lawrence, he took a team-friendly deal because he wanted to make sure we can get players. Okay, I'd understand if Zeke said, you know what, I deserve more money, but I'm not going to hold out to try and get it. I'm going to do a team-friendly deal. I would say, yeah, then Dak should go ahead like everybody else and do a team-friendly deal. But ain't nobody doing a team-friendly deal. Ain't nobody saying, and you're not going to see Deshaun Watson take a team-friendly deal. You're not going to see Pat Mahomes. Jared Goff, look. Jared Goff, who had 21 TDs and 16 interceptions, and they have no first-round picks the next 2 years, and they're in cap hell. You didn't see him say, you know what? I'm going to take a team-friendly deal because we got problems here. We don't have money to pay people. He didn't take a team-friendly deal. You didn't see Carson Wentz say, you know, and I need to make sure we have a backup quarterback in case or when I get hurt that we can have somebody in here. I want to make sure we have some extra money to get some more wide receivers and defensive players. So, did he do that? Did he say, you know what? I'm wearing another man's ring. I got a Super Bowl ring, so I've already got that. So, let me take a team-friendly deal.
See, that's what that agent is for, to make sure they get the most money possible.
It's like, come on, dude.
The agents are not to let us say, okay, I'll take a team-friendly deal. The agent won't let them do that. They want to get that money too.
And the thing is, listen.
The agent was they're going to tell them.
I know you guys think I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, excuse me, a freaking idiot.
It's okay.
But watch what I tell you about the salary cap. The salary cap is going to blow the roof off the sucker. Okay? Here's the thing. Here's what you got to look at the whole picture, okay? I wake up in the middle of the night because when I was looking and thinking about yards per catch, about our guys, I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning in a sweat. I was like, wait a minute, search on. But here's what you don't understand. The NFL and the NFLPA are working really close together because unlike the last time they did a deal, they realized there's more money for all of us.
Isn't that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow and Friday.
When they make a decision?
The NFL is trying to hurry up and get this deal done because of that. It's going to be a whole lot more money. So that's why they're talking about raising the revenue share for the players. They're going to give them a bigger portion, and it's going to take effect if the deal is ratified for the new league year. So we think that the salary cap is at 197 million at this moment, but it will probably go up by another 10 because the deal is signed, because they're changing the percentages to the players. The players are about to get an additional $5 billion over the next 10 years, minimum. So they know we can go ahead and up that thing right now. So we'll end up getting probably another $10 million, in which case the Cowboys will have about $100 million worth of cap room. The agents know this. But the reason that the NFL is trying to hurry up and get this deal with the Players Association signed, because they immediately want to start negotiating on the television contract. They want to go to the networks and say, hey, look guys, we got labor peace for the next 10 years. And guess what happened this past year? That hasn't happened in a few years. After the anthem protests, after the concussions and things, after players' incidences off the field, after the Michael Vick, dogfighting and everything else, where the NFL had a black eye. For the first time in about 5 years, viewership went up. And the NFL wants to go to labor peace the next 10 years. We've got viewership that's going up because what they're worried about is something they have no control over next year. It's the presidential election. There's debates on a couple of the nights that are football nights. And because it's the presidential election, they're worried that maybe viewership will go down because of that, just a little bit. So that's why the Players Association is meeting tomorrow and Friday and possibly voting on that. And if it passes, you're going to see the salary cap blow the F up. Deshaun Watson, you got Pat Mahomes, you got Josh Allen, hell, you got old heads and Tom Brady and Drew Brees. All these contracts are going to be well in the 30s. And what you sign Dak now and lock him into is going to be chump change. The agents know that, and that's why they look at this and say, let's go ahead and get this contract done for as much as we can, because you're not going to be able to renegotiate it till later. Kirk Cousins, he knew. Kirk Cousins was a freaking genius to sign only a 3-year deal. He got paid $28 million a year for 3 years, and now, as the money to go around, you got Emmitt Smith working for the Dallas Cowboys and saying, hey, Dak, you should take that team-friendly deal. Now you can tell me I'm stupid, that I'm a Dak Prescott lover, that I don't care about the Cowboys, that I'm only a fan of Dak's. I'm going to tell you this. The Dallas Cowboys have to own up to their shit. The Dallas Cowboys have hurt themselves. They hurt themselves with these contracts that they've been fucking around with. Excuse my language again. You can't tell me that DeMarcus Lawrence waiting to get his shoulder worked on didn't hurt his season. He couldn't do full workouts all off season. He only practiced the last week going into the season. You can't tell me that Zeke Elliott had that same burst holding out and being on the beaches in Cabo. Okay? That shit hurt the team. And you can't tell me that Dak Prescott, little touchdown, how you doing, man? What's up? You can't tell me that when Dak Prescott thought about running, in the back of his mind, he thought, I have no guarantee. I ain't running. I'm not putting myself out there to risk my future when they're not willing to risk for me. I ain't running. I ain't running. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. And I can't say that I blame him for not putting his neck on the line. Because if Dak had gotten, you think the Dallas Cowboys would say, you know what? We appreciate what you did for the last 4 years for us. We're going to go ahead and take care of you, man. We're going to make you a rich man for the rest of your life. You think they would do that? If you wouldn't pay me while I was healthy and doing all this shit as much as the damn punter, why would I put you don't have faith in me? Hold it. Would you do that for your company? Let's say you work for a tree company, and the tree company doesn't have health insurance for you, and you got a tree that's half leaning on a house, it's rotting out. They say to you, hey man, why don't you go up there and cut that limb right there? I know, we can't get any rope on it or anything and all that, okay? I know we're only paying you minimum wage and all that, but why don't you do that? What would you do? I'd say, read between the lines. If I fall off of there, I'm going to be unemployed in the hospital with no health insurance. You expect me to do that when you're only paying me minimum wage? Shit. So I'm not taking any more chances than I need to. There's an old saying, it's called penny wise and pound foolish. People keep telling you, you know, the Redskins, they did the right thing with Kirk Cousins because they didn't believe in that guy. You know? They weren't sure he was the one that was going to be able to take them to the promised land. You know, it's funny. Think about this. You paid Kirk Cousins $45 million for 2 years. You paid Alex Smith, what did he get, 23, 68 and 40? So you spent $108 million on 5 years of those guys. 5 years on Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith. If you had made a long-term deal for Kirk Cousins before you franchise tagged the second time, you would have spent half that money you did on quarterbacks, and you would have still had him in your organization. And he probably would have been like, yeah, they took care of me, and been happier about staying. Instead, you fucked around and ended up saying, we're just going to franchise tag because we're not real sure. He walks away, and look at the Redskins situation at quarterback. Smith, because Alex Smith, he's a better pocket quarterback. You've been paying him for 3 years, and he's no longer on the field. You then turn around and you use a first-round draft pick on a guy that you're not sure about now. You done signed Case Keenum. You spent over the last 5 years about $150 million in quarterbacks, and you still don't have one that's half as good as Dak Prescott. So you can go ahead and play that route of, you know what, we're going to franchise tag him and make sure. Shit. Go right ahead. Still amazed that Emmitt somebody was talking about somebody else's money when he didn't take a team-friendly deal. Get the fuck out of my pocket. I'm sorry. Dak can make any throws it takes. Yeah, or at least, and that's the thing that kills me. That's because Tony Romo got paid, but do you see him doing ads now? Well, no, he's not doing ads. Well, he does do some ads. But he's also a commentator too and getting paid big time. But Tony was doing ads for Pepsi and Frito-Lay and all that stuff. But did he take a team friendly deal? I don't think he did, if my memory serves me correctly. I really don't remember anybody ever on the Dallas Cowboys taking a team-friendly deal. I just wish the Cowboys would stop this shit that they do, because it's not about saving money. What it really is about keeping you and the Dallas Cowboys in the forefront of the news. And that's what it does. Every year we have the same stuff. There's so many, the line missed some blocks, but we're always told that we got the best offensive line in football. But we don't take into consideration things like tripping calls. Remember we had the 2 tripping calls on Travis Frederick that cost us big plays, that they went back and looked and said, no, they're not there. You guys remember the 3 touchdown passes that Randall Cobb had that were called back to the bullshit calls?
That's the one thing that brought out, right? That they have a judge that can overrule bullshit calls.
Right.
That can change the outcome of the game.
You remember against the Jets, where the Jets were literally teeing off on Dak Prescott and the officials weren't calling any of them, which should have been 15-yard penalties that would have given us first downs, great field position and stuff. But we don't get those calls. Y'all remember that we held on to a kicker who missed a kick every game? Think about that. Bottom line, numbers for Dak, in your opinion, how many years? For the Cowboys, the longer the better. Because you look at Tyron Smith's contract. When they signed Tyron Smith, everybody laughed about Tyron Smith. Oh my God, you're going to pay an offensive lineman $97 million? Well, right now, the $13 million that he's getting paid looks like chump change. And it looks like a great deal. So for the Cowboys, Prescott, you want a 3 or 4 year deal at most. That's what most guys are signing these days. They're not getting, they realize that this number is going to change rapidly, so they're trying to get shorter deals like Kirk Cousins. I have no problem with a $35 million deal. I look at it like this. Carson Wentz, who every year, and don't tell me he didn't get hurt this year, because he didn't make it through the first quarter of the playoffs. He didn't make it through the first quarter of a playoff game. He gets 34. Okay. Jared Goff, whose team is in deep shit. Ty Gurley's contract's hamstring. And he is not looking that good at all. I mean, 21 TDs, 16 interceptions. He's not that good a quarterback. He gets 33. If I'm Dak Prescott, I'm not taking less than those 2 guys who were drafted ahead of me. So I say 35 a year. If you can get him for 4 years, that'd be great. If you can get him for 5, that'd be even better. Randy. Was Kirk Cousins top 5 when he got his deal? When he got paid? Was he top 5? Really? A guy who right now I think is at 500 win percentage in his career? Was Matthew Stafford top 5? when he got his deal was Jimmy Garoppolo, top 5 when he got his deal. All these guys were the highest paid quarterback. And understand this. So here's the other part that you guys seem to miss. You got to understand that the cap has gone up on average 5%. Some of that is the cost of living percentage, because when Kirk Cousins got paid, the salary cap was down $20 million less. Do you guys understand math? So if the salary cap is $20 million more, okay, let's keep it simple. Let's say the salary cap was $100 million and I got 20. That means I got 20% of it. Okay? If the salary cap is now 125 and I got 25 million, it's still the same 20%. You understand? Does that make sense? Because 20% of 100 is 20 million. 20% of 125 million is 25. So part of that increase is also that the salary cap goes up. Because you look at, say, when Troy Aikman got his deal. Oh my God, Troy Aikman's getting $4 million a year of $32 million was the cap. But every year it goes up. And that's why everybody is looking at 30 plus now. 30 is the minimum right now. Everybody is talking about at least 30. So what you guys doing right now? What are you guys doing? And that's all I got to say about that. Tell Dak we will give him 35, but you will lose your homies. How are you gonna lose his homies? It's not like you got everybody on the side to begin with. So Yeah, but you know what? Regardless, Dak Prescott's just gonna go out there and play. He doesn't need you guys' validation because you ain't getting it to him anyway. He's the biggest bargain in football that I can't think anybody else has been a bigger bargain than Dak Prescott, and yet you guys still say trash the guy. So you think he's worried that if I get paid 35, some people are gonna be upset? Come on, man. Let's be for real. The guy has done above and beyond expectations for a fourth round drafted quarterback. He's got better numbers than everybody in his class. Has second most wins in the NFL, and you guys hate him. So you think that he's worried about losing people because he might get paid? Come on, man. Did Russell Wilson worry about losing fans when he demanded, you gonna pay me by April 15th or I'm not to worry about that, did he? Did he lose them? But then again, if he did, he doesn't give a rat's ass. He's got Sierra and more money. So let me go back to you guys. Face of the Cowboys, he deserved to be paid like everybody else, market price. Washington has a better team. I think we're talking about XFL there. Anybody want to talk Redskins, rookie cricket? Well, you guys re-signed Adrian Peterson. I'm kind of serious. And I remember seeing him at his charity event in Ashburn. And I swear, he reminded me of Get Out. He had this, because it was so funny, because Lauren, who's his agent, also Calais Campbell's agent, introduced, he said, oh, AP, this is Mark. He's a Dallas Cowboy fan. And I'm like, I'm in Ashburn, where the Redskins practice. I got all these Redskins around and everything else. And I'm kind of like, you're selling me out here. But he had this twinkle in his eyes, and it was just kind of like, get me out. Because he was talking about growing up in Texas and everything else. And we know he wanted to go back to Dallas. or wanted to go to Dallas, and Jerry's losers. How about that? Does that work for you, Brian? It's kind of interesting that first person the Redskins let go was Josh Norman. And Ron Rivera knows him rather well since he played for him. That was kind of telling right there. And damn, what's his name? Reed, the tight end. Dude is still in concussion protocol 6 months later, man. In a concussion protocol, 6 months. That's like the guy from The Blind Side. He ended up having to retire because of the same issue. Get the kitchen, we'll get the kitchen next. On the ceiling. Let me start in the kitchen. Ooh, nothing. All right, time to move to the kitchen, y'all. Appreciate them. We gotta move. We gotta take the ceiling up in here. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me go all out up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me act a fool up in here, up in here. Maybe she's thinking about putting the ceiling fan in the kitchen.
I have to ask her.
That's what it must be. That must be why she. That would make more sense.
Let's just ask her.
So what we're doing here is we are updating and renovating this. What color? I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what the color is. I know that they want the doors gray, and that's going to be interesting. The trim's white, and I think it's like some kind of a gray in with the walls as well, but I'm not sure. But right now, what we's doing is we're getting the ceiling painted. I've had to spackle some of the walls and stuff you see over here. That stuff needs to dry. So tomorrow we'll start painting the walls. I got tile work to do. I'm going to be putting down new floors as well. So let me check something upstairs real quick. See how that works. Not bad. It's gonna need bathroom definitely gonna need on the coat and around the edges up there. It's still right. So. Remind me to bring the paint holders tomorrow. Cups, because that'd be a lot easier. Yeah. You know I'm forgetful, man.
I don't know you, so, but now I do. I look all under here.
Though, yeah, I've got to stand that stuff out, we'll take that part over, because I got to stock up some more. So don't worry about that. We'll just set up tomorrow. Definitely need the longer ladders. Well, that should be right. I'm gonna close at 5, so maybe I should go back there by then.
1 o'clock now.
You have plenty of time. There's paint on this. You got to touch up, and I need to stop the walls. That's where then tomorrow we start doing these walls with paint and working on plumbing. She's gonna rent this hot by in the morning. Get the walls painted, then we can go ahead and get the door jacks painted Santa Claus white. And then by Monday, we're ready to start putting down the floor.
They come over here on Friday?
Yeah. Okay, I'll work on the plumbing and tower.
I won't be able to come up with that much.
Probably, I may come back Saturday too. We also need to get down the lane, we gotta change. We gotta just work at Robbie's house.
You gotta get the other space ready, because I'm going to.
Yeah, I got a lady who's supposed to go over and take a look at that today. How y'all doing in here? So yeah, Mike, I think that's what it is. We'll just plan on putting a ceiling fan in here.
It's kind of like two, so I would ask.
Well, this thing is butt ugly.
No, I would ask which lights which has the other ones too. So which ones you want to put in here?
Those two backs of them, so we have 4 lights.
So I would ask.
So there's only, well, then we're changing all of them because that would be.
Well, I would still ask.
Because there's not 4 lights.
I would still ask what she wants to do.
Unless you take the stairway, the hallway, and the closet.
I guess I would ask her what she wants all the way.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Ooh-wee. Garrett meant to do that? Yes, sir. Garrett screwed Dak's style and made him very stay in the pocket. I agree with that.
Of course she did. Dak Prescott was more running style quarterback. One day more with the room.
Yeah, Jason Garrett definitely stunted his growth. I will say that.
He's more the problem people thought he was. It wasn't all because Scott on hand.
Right. That. I'm gonna get some compound and hit some of the other spots. Okay, so let him go. That's your solution. Let him go for 2 first. So if you're saying let him go for 2 first, Mike, what XFL games did you watch this weekend?
No, I think it's the hundred.
You watched the DC Defenders.
We got average this week.
Here's the funny thing that y'all keep talking about. Well, you know, we ain't gonna pay that. You know, or you know what? If you want a quarterback these days, you're gonna pay him.
Having DeMarcus Lawrence, they eventually paid him.
You're gonna pay. I love how everybody just thinks that the NFL gets fixed by the Dallas Cowboys not paying Dak Prescott.
There's more than this. That had nothing to do about that.
So seriously,
They like talking about it.
what you'd actually have to do is either sign him to a franchise tag or tag him and try and trade that tag price, or you could transition tag him, in which case then it would cost you less money, but then somebody'd have to give you 2 firsts to get them, and pay them. So, and what you're talking about doing is hoping that there's somebody else out there that's better. That's the thing that gets me is people automatically assume that, oh, okay, I got 2 first-round draft picks, so we're going to get a better quarterback just because they're a first-round draft pick. And there's a lot of quarterbacks that are first-round draft pick that ain't worth shit. In fact, you could look at it and say, you know, Russell Wilson was a 3rd round. Tom Brady was 6th round. Tony Romo was undrafted. That some of the guys that we think about as being great players because they're, you know.
Only 2 of them won the Super Bowl last 10 years.
Right. We automatically think that, oh, well, they're first-round draft picks, so they're going to be great. That does not always do that. Is anyone from Texas? My heart is from Texas. Tagging him, you are 100% right that it would be another one of those cases where the Dallas Cowboys screw themselves. I'm just saying. You can agree or disagree with me, but it seems like the Cowboys make more mistakes on what to do with the contracts than anybody else. Remember how, Zeke Elliott, we're not going to reset the market with Zeke Elliott. And they reset the market with Zeke Elliott. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's got to understand that, we need a team-friendly deal. We think we're going to be able to get him for 18, and you pay him for 20. Okay. Dez Bryant. There are questions about Dez Bryant, and they pay Dez Bryant. So, when you look at it, Cowboys have made their fair share of mistakes. How you doing, L4G? Business is booming. For you? Not for me. I'm at the point of almost no return with Big Red. She's in the shop again, and I think it's finally time that I have to let her go. Or at least start seeing another. Start cheating on Big Red. Tim. First of all, let's go back to it. Dak is a free agent. Can't trade a free agent unless you can sign him to a franchise tag or sign him to a contract. And no, I wouldn't. Because as I look out there at quarterbacks and the possibility, and understand everybody's talking about, oh, Tua, he's going to be a can't miss guy. And all these guys. You know how many guys they said are can't miss guys that end up sucking?
Number 1 overall.
Huh?
He's not projected for number 1 overall.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But Josh Rosen was the number 1 pick. They talked about him having generational talent and everything else, and he's 3rd string in Miami. So you're willing to take a guy who has the 2nd most victories, and whether you say he is a bus driver, well, I tell you what, if he's a bus driver, I like the way he's driving because the bus ain't crashing, okay? You're going to take a guy who has been everything and more than you could ask for. There's another old saying. A bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush. And the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Here's what I said. Had you put Dak Prescott with the 49ers in the Super Bowl, I think they win that game. Anybody want to dispute that with me? Anybody? Huh? You would dispute it. That if Dak Prescott was playing better than Jimmy Garoppolo did in that oh, Michael, you crazy.
I would if you took the seriously.
Okay, wait. How about this? If Dak Prescott had been playing in the Super Bowl the year before for Jared Goff, who got 3 points, I think.
Now that one I have to believe because if you believe the conspiracy.
You're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in 3 games had 423 yards in the playoffs. You can't look at that and say, "Oh man, they won they went to the Super Bowl because of what Jimmy Garoppolo was doing." Get the fuck out of here with that. You can't. And I'll put it this way: you put New England's defense with the Dallas Cowboys, they won the Super Bowl last year. You can't look and say, "Oh, if we had New England's offense last year, we would have won the Super Bowl." How can you even try and compare what Dak's done to Quincy Carter? See, that's where I'm sorry, dude.
I'm going too far.
I'm sorry, dude. That is about the dumbass comment of the day. Quincy Carter never got anywhere close to what Dak Prescott has done.
He was good.
Come on, man. Come on, man. That's just straight ignorance, man.
Quincy Carter was good until he started swimming.
I'm sorry, dude. Dude, I ought to block your ass.
See, Dak Prescott ain't smoking nothing. That's my
Dude, you deserve to be blocked just for you deserve to be blocked just for that dumbass comment. Because when I hear something like that, it makes me realize that maybe we are talking to the dumbest person ever in the history of the world. That's as bad as somebody else is like, "Oh, he's just like Tim Tebow."
Oh.
You know, that's what they said about him coming out of college. That he's a poor man, or excuse me, Tim Tebow with a better arm.
No. The popular belief that Prescott did model his game in college after Tim Tebow.
Better than Tim Tebow.
I'm just saying though, he modeled his game after Tim Tebow in college.
That's when you just start realizing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but if you're saying you play like Tim Tebow,
I don't want to call people stupid. I'll just say you're football illiterate if you think that Dak Prescott is Quincy Carter 2.0. I will just say that, or I'll say that you were looking for a reaction from me, and you succeeded.
Quincy Carter was good until he got on those curves.
He was not. He was okay. He was never good.
Yeah, but
He was never a franchise quarterback.
I never said that either.
Old son hating.
I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you.
I'm
If
just
you
saying,
listen,
No, I'm just saying though, if you go by
San Francisco's defense was the second best defense in the NFL. They had a great running attack, and Jimmy Garoppolo was not asked to win games for it, just not lose them. And that's exactly what he did in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. He lost the game by turning the ball over. They had it. They had the lead. He won you every game, but he's not out there losing the games.
The NFL is fixed, so I don't think they have in the Super Bowl.
The Chinese what?
Not saying they would in the other game, but that is look at the Super Bowl.
for real when I haven't had it much. What I want to notice is I'm getting crazy spells sometimes when I'm over my head, looking up over my head. We gotta move it, get out the way, get out the way, get out the way. We gotta move it. We gotta go to another location here, y'all. I love Dak Prescott. When I saw him in his first preseason game, you wanted Prescott to start before Romo. Well, you can see some talent. And by no means am I satisfied with where Dak is right now. I want to see him get even better. It'll be interesting to see how he does with Mike McCarthy as his coach. What I don't want to see is Dak having to hold out and waste time in the offseason where we need him there getting this stuff together. Are you cleaning that brush? Are you cleaning the brush? Yeah. I needed you to touch up a couple places around the edge and the ceiling up there needs it. Around the edge up here does too. And I need to paint on that opening. I'm gonna put you guys here on the toilet. Stay right there. Did we bring the shipper? I need to bring it up here so we can take the floor.
Oops. Did you guys fall over? Did you fall over? I'm sorry. So we've painted the ceiling up in here. We're gonna paint the walls and things in here. We're gonna change all the outlets, put in new doors. Pop Smoke killed. Who's Pop Smoke? Anybody know who Pop Smoke is? Sal, what's up, man? What's up? The Hispanic causing panic in the house. What? The Hispanic causing panic. Oh, you finally got the shot glass. Oh, okay, cool. I'll have to look for your picture. Cool. Okay. I say give the man a pay raise, but not a big one until the new. So, what do you say? Give him a 1-year deal? Is that what you're saying? Come on, man. How you gonna do that? Nobody gets like a short-term deal. Basically, he's already done that. It's amazing that you guys are asking Dak Prescott to do things that nobody else has ever been required to do. Trying to figure out which is worse, the dizziness or my shoulder. Okay. Nail pop up there. And then all this stuff is getting thick. And you got a pair of pliers. I guess by now you guys are bored of me. What's going on, y'all? Pop Smoke's a 20-year-old rapper that got gunned down in Hollywood Hills. Hollywood Hills, damn. He said at the start of the year he'd get 36. Well, I think that's a reasonable amount. Funny thing is, if you don't get it done now, that's going to sound like a steal next year.
Oh my goodness. This isn't one I did before. This is one that the people just moved out of. This is the first time I've actually been. I've done some repairs here, but I've been dealing with some things. We actually started last week. Hey, what's up, Jack? We actually started last week. We got in here to take a look at it. Would I take Holmes over Dak? Yeah, I probably would. If it's just a straight up swap, sure. I wouldn't trade and get more for him. I mean, you have to honestly look at it. Mahomes at the moment is the best quarterback in football, and he's actually, got less miles on than Dak. He's only had 2 years of starting. So, from the standpoint of longevity and things, yeah, you have to say Mahomes. I'm gonna have to make some noise here. You guys want to hear it, or should we end the stream? I got to use the chipper and get some tile up. So you tell me. Yeah, I love how Jacoby Brissett took 27. Emmitt says he should take 28. And who's taking under 30 million these days? Anybody? Ain't nobody taking under 30. And I'm amazed that he would come through and say that, knowing what he ended up doing with the Cowboys and damn self. You agree with Emmitt? That would be great if everybody did it, but why should he do something that nobody else is doing? Sal, I think we're definitely moving because we have so many defensive linemen that are free agents. I think in this draft, this is an opportunity for you to go ahead and reset it and definitely start moving in that direction. So hold up, y'all. Hey, Mike, do we have pliers down there? Did I take this float off? Or no? Mike. Or do it yourself. Do it yourself.
I don't think about it. If it ain't been
This is my baby here. This might be why the shoulder rotator cuff is this bad boy. This thing don't play. And then take up some tile in the other room. So let's move you guys again. Move it. Get out the way. Get out the way, y'all. Get out the way. Let's see how we can do this. This is how we do it. Na 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 na. This is how we do it. It's Friday night. Party's here on the left side. Hold up. Wait a minute. If you were from where I'm from, then you would know. This is how we do it. Na 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 na. This is how we do it. big boy toys. Ooh-wee. Phew. Boys and girls, get yourself an education. Don't be like me, having to do grunt work. This is hard. Stay in school, get your education, or you could end up being like me. Old, ugly, beat down, covered with dust. Trying to make ends meet. So what we have here, besides butt crack, is they put a whole lot of cement down here on the floor. So I'm taking my chipper here to loosen it all up here so that way we have a nice lower base instead of just building this up and building this up to
to the sky like they've done, we're going to put this thing back to where it belongs. And we're going to have to fix the drywall down below because they tried to bring the tile up around it. So many things that are wrong in this place, it's not funny. Mark, you would work these young guys. You wouldn't work in a pie factory if Jesus was making pies until later, Mark. Take it easy, man. He may be trying to get, well, I think he definitely is trying to get a long-term deal out of him. Definitely trying to do that. And, you know, to them, I mean, to be honest, that's the best thing they could do would be to get a long-term deal. But let me put you guys back up here so I can chip some more. Gotta get this work done. Let's see if that works better right there. Now why the tile cracked. This is thin set mortar, okay? When you put thin set this thick, it's gonna move. That's the reason why you call it thin set. Didn't mean to throw you guys like that. But there's a reason why it's called thin set. Because it's made to be thin, to hold. They ended up using this, look. They ended up using this like it's cement to put a whole nother bed to try and level it out. That's a no-no. That's why it sucks. Mark Holmes changed my name. I was known as Open-Minded Movie Man. Well, what's happening, man? Why'd you change your name? They have great receivers. Who has great receivers? It's my contention that Dak Prescott has made his receivers better because everybody's had career yardage statistics. Sal, you're speaking my language. I actually thought that the Cowboys should have gotten rid of him last year. They would have saved $5 million last year on the cap. And it would have been a wiser move, but you know, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll who's out here pounding concrete, you know? So I ain't got no room to tell anybody what to do, especially not the Dallas Cowboys. Whew. I'm trying to get you guys so you won't fall over, but the vibrations are knocking you down. So I'm trying to understand what the hell they were doing in here. They literally, they put cement down here. Look, they put cement board down here. They put all of this concrete on top of it. Then they put this thick of concrete on top of it. Trying to understand what the hell they thought they were doing. This is one of those cases where it's literally, and here's the problem. They use tile mastic this thick. So now you had a step to go in the bathroom this tall. Look, because look, here's a cement board right here. Then they got this layer of gray cement. Then on top of it, they had that. And the problem is, this thin set is not made to be like regular cement where you can build it up that. I mean, look at it. That's thin set. That's thin set. That's what's underneath of that. And then they got hardy backer. And the problem is it looked like the tile had skimmed on it, or there was too much movement in it because the tile's cracked on the floor. You see how easy this is coming up. I'm actually able to chip right on down to the layers of hardy board, which is what I'm going to go through and lay the new tile on it. Now I'm going to have to fat fix the wall, the drywall here. But better to do that than it is to try and put this on some more shit. That's the biggest thing I have problem-wise with doing construction is sometimes the cheapest price isn't the cheapest price. And people get stuck in their mind that, well, I can go Home Depot and I can buy this and it won't cost me as much as what you're talking about. And it's like, yeah, it may be a cheaper product, but like paint. You've been waiting to change your name because you do more talk about movies? Oh, okay. Paint is a great example of it. Buying cheap paint just because it's cheap, you're going to end up spending more time and labor putting it up, and it won't cover and last as long. You're better off buying a more expensive paint, putting one, maybe two coats at most on top of it, and being able to scrub it down than it is, oh, well, let me save a little money on paint and put cheap paint up there. That you got to get people out of this mindset that I'm looking for a cheap thing. You can have flooring that it looks nice in the box, but it's real thin that sometimes it's harder to actually put down and doesn't wear as well, and you turn around and have to replace. Everything that you buy is automatically going to be good, and Home Depot is notorious for having some stuff that sometimes is just crap. Mike, I have no idea what they were doing in here because they literally put, look at this. This is thin set that they put on top of more thin set here. They literally put 1.25 inches of cement up underneath the tiles and raised up the floor. And they got hardy backer on the bottom. So I'm going to finish chipping this on out of here so we get that out of there. From Russia. We got somebody in Russia. Hello from Russia. Have a nice day. Well, hello there from Russia. That's a long ways away. Am I going to the Bengals game this year? I don't know about the Bengals game. I know I'm going to the Redskin one in DC, and I know I'm going to the I'm going to go to a couple games in Dallas. I'm probably going to go to the Hall of Fame for the inductions. But other than that, I don't know which games yet in Dallas. I'm going to see how the schedule. I'll probably go to the home opener like I did last year. Hopefully I get my tickets right this time. Okay, I need to chip some more. So hold up, guys. put cement board down. I'm trying to still understand.
Is that concrete?
Well, it's this. Why they would have done that? They put cement board down. I don't understand that. Okay. Do we have any Home Depot bags, do we? So I can wrap up the roller?
I know, right there with the trash bag.
But yeah, put it in the trash, wrap it up in a trash bag. Bring me some trash bags so this is crazy. This is literally the craziest thing I've ever seen. Phew. The travel will be a problem. Need the Concorde flight. Ain't no lie, man. Or getting people that don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, this is just freaking. Oh, for me, it actually makes life easier because I thought I was going to pull up, because the floor is so uneven and cracked. I got cement board up underneath here. I just make sure that I put some extra screws and make sure it's locked in there tight, and use the mortar that's made for difficult laying. Flexibond, which will take care of any movement up underneath there. It's more expensive. It's about $29 a bag, but I can guarantee you it ain't gonna crack. It ain't gonna crack at all. So that's what I'm gonna do. Whew. Derek Brown will be gone when we pick. Just to make your job harder. Yeah, this isn't that bad. I've had a lot harder jobs than this. I just don't have much of a win right now. I just haven't been feeling like myself lately. I just get tired easy and a little lightheaded. I feel like I'm a blonde. Any other news other than Emmitt Smith talking about Dak Prescott needs to take a team-friendly deal? Okay, so John, who you having as your starter? Who's going to be a quarterback, buddy? Would I move up? I'm not a big fan of moving up. I think because if you're moving up, you got to get somebody who's worth both of those picks. That means he's got to be better than two guys. And there's not too many guys out there that are better than two people. I'm not a fan of moving up. I'm sorry. To me, you're reaching. We did that with Morris Claiborne, and how'd that work out for us? No, I'm not a fan of moving up. I'd rather say, let's take the best players available on the defensive line. Here's the thing. A second round draft pick should be a starter on your team. So what you're saying is that guy is better than me having two starters. And second round picks, no. Okay. All right, John. So, John, again, you haven't given me what your solution is. Who are you going to bring in that's going to cost you less than Dak Prescott, that's going to give you the same production? See, I get sick and tired of people just saying, oh, let him walk. Okay, all right, you let him walk, and then what are we going to do? Who's going to play? Oh, we'll trade up in the draft. Oh, so you're going to lose other players on the team. You're going to go through and say, it's okay, we don't need to draft defensive linemen. We don't need to get a ball hawking safety. We don't need a nose tackle who can actually shut down the run. We don't need those guys. We just need a better quarterback. That's the only thing it's going to take. And I'm going to tell you, if you honestly believe that, then you definitely believe in Santa Claus, because I'm sorry, a better quarterback is not going to get you that much more. Your team already is fourth in scoring, second in yardage. The offense did its job.
Your defense, special teams, and coaching didn't do theirs. So you're going to take the one thing that was good and think you're going to improve that. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what you're saying. Mike, you got some bags? I speak for myself. You ain't said shit other than just let Dak go. You haven't, it's easy to point out you got a problem here and here. I want to hear a solution. That's what I want to hear. I hear, well, anybody can go 8-8. Okay, well, what's going to get us to 13-3? How about that? 1-6. He was the only guy playing on the team? How about him last year, the year before? How about that? How about second most wins in the NFL? Because I can point to and look and say, well, Jared Goff, he ended up playing well, got into a Super Bowl, but how's he playing right now? You can look and say, oh, Carson Wentz, he's a better quarterback, but dude couldn't make it to a playoff game. How about that? You can look through and say, Russell Wilson, he's the best quarterback in football, but when was the last time he was at the Super Bowl? Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man. What did he do with Randall Cobb the last 4 years? And how did he do in the playoffs? Did he go in the Super Bowl and win it? Did he? How about Tom Brady? He had the best defense in football. Was he able to overcome the Titans? 209 yards, 1 interception, no TDs? Because by your logic, if you got a great quarterback, then you're going to go to the Super Bowl every year. And guess what? It's not the case, man. Oh, wow. Okay, so Russell Wilson is in the Super Bowl every year then, right? Aaron Rodgers is in the Super Bowl every year, right? Drew Brees, he's in the Super Bowl every year. Because I got to tell you, every one of our Dallas Cowboys wide receivers, from Dez Bryant, who had 15.9 yards per completion under Dak Prescott, career high. Amari Cooper, 15.1 yards per completion this past year, career high. Michael Gallup, a third-round draft pick, over 1,000 yards, 16.3 yards per completion for a guy who was not a number 1 draft pick. Randall Cobb, wow. Best year Randall Cobb's had in 5 years, who had the bad man throwing to him. So I would say that those guys, game plan, oh, by the way, that was a career high too for yards per completion. I would say that those guys were not exactly high-end wide receivers when they got to Dallas, but somehow they performed. How about that? Your response to that, man? Huh? The Jets, well, you know what? Okay, you know what? It's not just Dak Prescott overcoming. Let's talk about this for a second, too. Let's talk about, there should have been like 4 unnecessary roughness calls that would have been 60 yards for the Dallas Cowboys that weren't called on that one. How about the defense making Josh Allen look like he was Joe Montana? How about that? How about some of these calls like tripping that we get from the officials that stop drives? Because, see, I look at Randall Cobb, who truly had 3 more touchdowns that were called back. I look at our team that had more drops than anybody else. But none of that matters, right? None of that counts, right? Come on, man. Why don't you, what I wish is people would just be honest. Just be honest. Okay? Just admit you just don't like the fact that Dak Prescott's your quarterback. It's nothing to do with ability. Because they say, oh, well, we don't have the wins. Well, as I pointed out, Drew Brees had 3 years where he was 7-9. So you can look and say, some of those yards that he got in his career being the NFL leader, maybe some of that was garbage time. But they don't say that, do they? They don't say that kind of thing. Okay? You can look through and say, or what they do is they say, well, Tom Brady, he didn't have a team around him. When we said that about Dak Prescott, what did they say? Oh, well, the quarterback should be elevating the players around him. He didn't do that. Well, you could say that about Tom Brady, who had the best defense, had the best coach, and had special teams that had 3 block punts.
No, we give a pass. We turn around with Carson Wentz and say, his numbers are better than what they look like because his receivers dropped the ball. Yet we had more passes dropped by our wide receivers than anybody else in the NFL. And by the way, he has an offensive line that's rated better than ours. Just saying. And this whole thing, he didn't have anybody to throw to. I'm sorry, Zach Ertz is the best tight end in football. Dallas Gephardt was another guy who was in the top 10 at tight end. So don't give me this crap that poor little Carson Wentz, he doesn't have anything. Take it easy, Scotty. That's the thing. You see, you guys are such, you listen to the talking heads that give you all this bullshit and you throw it right back out because you're mindless and are lazy and don't do your homework. Look at, I showed a video clip of Pat Mahomes where he was throwing interceptions because some of you guys believe that Pat Mahomes never throws an interception. He never has a pass that goes in the dirt. He never has an incompletion. That's the mentality of some of you guys because you don't actually look at anybody else and you believe this narrative. Well, Dak Prescott, he's the only guy out there that's late on a pass. Really? Really? He can't hit, oh my God. But somehow Dak Prescott's inaccurate, can't hit receivers in stride, yet he is the fourth highest touchdowns in the NFL, second highest per completions. So that's your thing? He can't hit receivers. Explain to me then how Dak Prescott is a trash receiver and somehow he has Randall Cobb catching passes a yard farther than Aaron Rodgers threw to him, the bad man. Explain that to me. Explain how he's got more yards than he's had since 2014 with a trash quarterback. Explain that to me. Explain to me how Derek Carr had Amari Cooper and the last year he only had 280 yards in 6 games. Yet with the Dallas Cowboys, he has a career high. Explain that to me. Explain how you took a Michael Gallup, a third-round draft pick, okay? Third-round draft pick, and he gets 1,000 yards in his second year. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Come on, man. You guys keep saying, oh, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, did you see how few points that they actually scored? Tom Brady didn't do jack this year in comparison. This year was a down year for Tom Brady. But some of you guys say, oh, well, Tom Brady would have won us a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. You take the numbers that he had, they're not winning us a Super Bowl. Not with the defense he had. 49 and Jimmy Garoppolo? Come on, man. They're questioning whether or not they want to keep him after the Super Bowl. But you guys will say, oh, well, the other team won, so that means the quarterback is better. Really? So if that's the case, we beat Seattle in the playoffs the year before, so that means Dak Prescott's better than Russell Wilson. You guys actually listen to yourselves, you haters, and realize how stupid some of the shit you guys say sounds? So when you say, well, Dak Prescott, when we played against New England, in a driving rainstorm in the cold, well, we didn't score that many points. You know what the difference was in that game? Bill Belichick ended up blocking a punt. His special teams gave them a give-me touchdown.
The other thing, too, is that they had one Zico and nothing to that going. They think he got away from where it was from. Zico was getting yards all over.
See, that's why I do so many videos about Dak Prescott, because a lot of you guys are ill-informed and say such stupid shit. Excuse me. It drives me crazy. I was so mad that I went back to work. No, I've got bills to pay, man. I'm trying to understand why they did this the way they did this. Hold your ears for a second, guys. All right, we did a good job on that. At least we don't put this shit up 10 feet. Whew. Because it's hard out here for a pimp. Because the cash money spent. Because it's hard out here for a pimp. You don't know, Negro. We got a room downstairs, don't we? Because it's hard out here for a pimp. You can't spend the cash no spend. Because it's hard out here for a pimp. You don't know. You don't know. Because it's hard out here. Hold your ear, bro. So I would not accept less than Carson Wentz or Jared Goff. Okay, Howard or Haywood. Do you go ahead and take a team-friendly deal at your job? Seriously. Unless you are willing to take a pay cut for your company, don't ask another man to do the same. Because did Emmitt take one for the Cowboys? Yeah, Dak's coming back. Yeah, and here's the thing. Did Russell Wilson take a team-friendly deal? Did Russell Wilson say, they said to Russell Wilson, hey man, you've been to 2 Super Bowls. You got Sierra for a wife, right? You got endorsements. Why don't you take a team-friendly deal? Because, we're trying to rebuild the team. We could use some extra cash to put some more players around you. Did that happen to Russell Wilson? Did Russell Wilson stop for a minute and say, you know what? I'm going to take a team-friendly deal. He said no. His guys got together and said, you don't get this deal done by April 15th, we ain't never, I don't care about me winning the Super Bowl with you, we ain't never signed another deal with you. Flat out. So why do you expect Dak Prescott to do the same thing? And here's the thing. Lonnie Holmes. I don't know if you're related to me or not. You know the interesting thing, because people say Russell Wilson got a ring. Russell Wilson's number when he got a ring, guess what? They weren't great. He was a bus driver at that point in his career. You know why? He had the number 1 defense that was number 1 at taking away the football those 2 years. He had beast mode, who was at the peak of his career. He didn't have to throw 35 touchdowns and 4,000 plus yards to win. All he had to do was not lose the game for him. You look at Russell Wilson's numbers, his first 3 years compared to exactly what Dak Prescott did. Dak Prescott's numbers were better his first 3 years. In fact, his first 4 years, Dak Prescott's were better. But what Russell Wilson had was the NFL's best defense 2 of those years. When they fell back to 3rd. If you took Dak Prescott and put it in with the 49ers defense or the New England's defense this year, you got the Super Bowl. Flat out. Sorry, that's the truth. You can say that I'm manipulating the statistics or I'm lying. That's the truth. You can't, well, they were top 10, in scoring, this, that, and the other. But in the same way we say, well, it was garbage time. Well, yeah, they shut down, of course, the Giants and the Redskins and things like that. But when it came to shutting down other teams, not so much. You had the Chicago Bears offense, Mitch Trubisky looked like Joe Montana. Mitch Trubisky. Des Bars, you need glasses then, dude. How is it that a guy who is 3-5 against Dak, that you look and say that he's head and shoulders better than Dak, especially after that turnover performance they had earlier in the season? You are definitely a homer. And your quarterback has 48 fumbles in his career. And what's funny is Dak Prescott has the same thing. Now here, let me give you an interesting statistic. Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz have the exact same number of touchdowns, 97 passes. Dak has 21 rushing TDs. Carson Wentz has 3. And I know what you're about to say, but he did them in less games, in 9 fewer games, which is true. I will give you that. But the Dallas Cowboys offense is supposedly a running offense, isn't it? But What I'll also say is Carson Wentz in 9 fewer games has 16 more fumbles. Explain that. Explain that one. I mean, look, listen. Your quarterback was second behind Daniel Jones by 1 in fumbles. So don't tell me that he's elite. I wish I was actually at home so I could pull up that Carson Wentz clip. Or a couple of, because, you know, I love it. Carson Wentz, hold on. We talk about Dak Prescott. Well, look what happened against New Orleans, you know. He didn't score that many points. You know what Carson Wentz and them scored against New Orleans last year? I think 3 points, and Carson Wentz had 3 interceptions. 3. But I guess only Dak Prescott's the only one who can't have a bad game. Because it's hard out here for a pimp. I still don't understand why they put, you had cement board down, the floor being level, why they would put 1.25 inches of cement on top of this. That is just unbelievable. I've never seen. Looks like they put the they cut the cement. Just want to get back and make sure we're there in time to pick up the truck. Dalton can do what he's done for $20 million. Okay. 'Cause it's hard out here for me. Well, I want to shout out to all you people who have hung in here with me painting and chopping. 33, 34, that's our range. Let me say, okay, Des Bars. Okay, dude, I tell you what. So, if your matrix is wins, well, Dak Prescott has more wins over Carson Wentz, 5-3. If your matrix is touchdowns, they have the same amount. That's a tie. If your matrix is turnovers, Carson Wentz definitely leads in that one. I'll give you that Carson Wentz is better at turning over the football than Dak Prescott. If it comes to wins, I'll say that Dak Prescott has more wins than Carson Wentz. In fact, Dak Prescott has a playoff win where Carson Wentz hasn't even made it through a playoff game. I will say that Dak Prescott, definitely stays healthier. He wins that battle because he's never missed a game. How about Carson Wentz? Let's see. Go on. I will say, if you look at the numbers, that Carson Wentz had 13-game stretch his second year where they had a fourth-place schedule that he ended up having a great 13 games. I will not take that away from him. He had a great 13 games. The next year, he follows it up with 5-6. I believe that's a losing record and had no wins other than one win against a winning team, which was the Colts. At the time, they had one win out of 4. The rest of the games, 5-6. And it was, again, Nick Foles who saved his ass and got them to the playoffs, winning 3 straight. I will say that last year, being the defending Super Bowl champions, that the Dallas Cowboys, led by Dak Prescott, went to Philadelphia when there was no hope of making the playoffs and kicked Philadelphia's ass. Then turned around and beat the New Orleans Saints that were hot as hell, and then turned around in a shootout in Dallas, taking the Dallas Cowboys in overtime and getting a win that Dak Prescott got that one. So Des Bars, show me where Carson Wentz has done so many things head and shoulders above Dak Prescott. And I will say, listen, you got the win at the end of the season. I will give you that. But Dak Prescott, unlike Carson Wentz, when he gets hurt, still continued to play with a shoulder that he literally could not raise up the week before the game. I'm an idiot. There's so many other things that are going to kill me that I'm not worried about this dust here. So, Des Bars, you're going to give me the eye test. Well, the eye test shows me 48 fumbles by your guy. 48 by your guy. How about that? No, that doesn't. But see here, okay, you can take that same. Well, no, hold on. Because for some reason we don't count the 21 touchdowns that he also rushed in. See, you go through in the history of the NFL in the first 4 years, my quarterback Dak Prescott is third all-time in touchdowns to start a career. So true, my quarterback had a few more games, 9 more games. But explain to me how it is that in 9 more games, my quarterback only had 1 more interception. 1 more interception than in your guy who had 9 less games. And explain to me how my quarterback has 16 less fumbles. So to me, if my guy doesn't turn over the ball 15 more times in 9 more games, doesn't that make my guy better? Especially since he's got more yardage than your guy? Got more wins in the playoffs. How many were lost fumbles? Oh, wow. So, okay. Did you hear yourself? Did you actually hear yourself? Well, how many? Okay, he fumbled the ball a lot, but he didn't lose them all. He didn't lose them all, so he's still great. Come on, man. That's as bad as Pro Football Focus saying his numbers are better than what they look at because his receivers dropped so many passes. Okay? My receivers dropped more passes than yours, but yet mine had almost 5,000 yards.
Come on. And your guy, he got a pat on the back because they said he was so courageous by not trying to go back out there when he got hurt. Come on. Yeah, but Dez, he's got one more interception than your guy in 9 more games. One more game. I'm sorry, 9 more games, 1 more interception. Dak's interception rate is lower than Carson Wentz. His fumble rate is lower than Carson Wentz. If this continues, man, it's going to look bad. Even more, everyone's saying the same thing. You said they were give him 38, move it up around, and keep the guys. The funny thing is we're sitting here fighting about how much money he's getting paid right now, and 2 years from now it's going to be chump change. That's the funniest thing about it. We all are going off the deep end for a couple million. Franchise and transition, 2 for now. Well, guys, I've got to actually go over here and get my truck, and I'm going to be ready to get up out of here. So, exactly. You said that they were turnovers. Fumbles, okay, yeah. Listen, if you got 48 fumbles, there's a problem. Even if you only lose half of them, there's a problem. Are you saying that 48 fumbles, are you saying that your quarterback having the second most fumbles in the NFL his 4th year is not a bad thing? You're saying that's a good thing. That your guy the last 3 years has been injured. You're saying that that's okay. The reason why Dak's deal didn't get done was his guarantee was like $17 million less than what golf was. I'm actually, I hate to admit it, but my guilty pleasure really is a waste of time. But you know what? I'm happy. Listen, I tell you what, I'm happy that you guys have Carson Wentz, and I hope you keep Carson Wentz. I'm good with that. I'm glad you didn't have Nick Foles, because Nick Foles did a whole lot more for you guys than what Carson Wentz did. Carson Wentz had a 13-game stretch where he was great. And if you guys want to believe that he is God and the best quarterback, God help you, go right ahead. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. You believe in your guy, I'll believe in my guy. How about that? And you know, and the funny thing is I'm here on my channel, on my space, talking about my quarterback, right? You guys, you Eagle trolls, are coming on my channel in my house talking about my quarterback. I'm not going on your channels and telling you guys trash. Am I? Eagle trolls. You would think that, in fact, I love the fact that Eagle fans have nothing better to do than to hang out on a Dallas Cowboys site. See, you guys don't realize how much you actually help me, because the more people interact with the video, the more people comment. Doesn't matter if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Google says, wow, this guy has got people talking. Let's move him up the ranks. So let me thank you, Eagle fans. You're helping this channel grow. So I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. So, you know, it's not personal. It's only business. Well, with some people, here's the thing. With some people, it does get personal.
What I found out, because I've been hanging out on Twitter a little bit. I've been hanging out on Twitter and defending my quarterback, you know? And I put out there, because you get some of these guys that you understand that they're not real bright. They're not real bright, because what they'll do is they'll go through it. Dak is trash. And I'll say, oh, okay, well, how about Deshaun Watson? Yeah, if we had Deshaun Watson, he's a gunslinger, man. You know, we've been in the Super Bowl. I said, well, you do realize that he's got the same record as Dak Prescott in the playoffs, right? 1-3. And he was injured there too, right? That he had a catastrophic knee injury. And oh, by the way, Dak Prescott actually threw the ball a half yard further per pass than he did this year, right? Well, why are we talking about Deshaun Watson? We talking about Dak. I was like, okay. I said, well, how about Drew Brees? I said, you know, yeah, if we had Drew Brees, man, we've been a winner. It's like, you do know that Drew Brees, that half of his seasons were actually below 500, 500 or below. He said, well, that's because he didn't have a real coach, so he got Sean Payton. I said, you do realize in a row, right? Well, that's because he didn't have a defense. You know, if he had a defense, then he would have been 7-9. It's like, thank you. You just made my argument for me. Thank you very much. Well, we're not talking about Drew Brees. We're talking about Dak Prescott. He's trash. And he got a BB gun for an arm. I said, wait, hold on. I said, you do know that he's throwing the second most yards per pass in the NFL, right? That in fact, every one of his receivers all have career highs in yards per catch. You know that, right? He don't pass the eye test. Oh, there we go. He don't pass the eye test. So you know that we had the second most wins. There's Tom Brady, there's Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson with the most amount of wins. That he's got 2 division titles, which, you know, there's only 2 guys in the last 10 years in the division that have 2 division titles. Although I won't really give it to you, Eagles, because it was Carson Wentz with some help that got those 2 division titles. And I got to be honest with you, he was 5-6. That second division title, 5-6, and it was Nick Foles winning 3 games in a row that ended up getting him there. And so from that point, then it goes to, well, you're fat. What does my weight have to do with the argument? Okay, I know. Hey, listen, I know I need to lose some weight. I get that. But that's not how, you know you're winning an argument when somebody tells you you're fat. Really? Personal attacks. So you can't beat me in a debate. So you got to go ahead and talk about me personally. And so I just still keep on. I keep sticking it in a little bit more. That's why they hate me. All right, guys. It's time for me to get up on out of here. Hopefully my truck is ready when I get there. So, and I listen, I got no problem with people disagreeing with me. Like I said, I know I'm right a lot. I know I was right about Calais Campbell, that he would have been a difference maker on our defense. I know I was right about Demario Davis, that he would have been a difference maker for our defense. I know I was right about Dak Prescott to be the perfect quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm not always right. And I will listen to anybody that has a legitimate argument. You know, don't just come in and just say, Dak sucks. Give me, if you got a better solution for Dak Prescott and wins us the Super Bowl, hey, I'm on that. I'm happy. I want to be at the Super Bowl talking about my Dallas Cowboys. That's what I want. I would straighten up your hoodie, strings out. Hey, well, dude. You won't come up. Okay, our key will not come out again. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Straighten my. I look discombobulated. Really? That's going to be your only problem with me? Is that my string isn't straight? Why is Dak the only one who has to take it? That's my. Thank you. Dak is the only one that's supposed to be taking a discount. Thank you very much. Because we need a Super Bowl. So, Carson Wentz doesn't need a Super Bowl? Oh, I forgot he does have one. He's wearing another man's ring. So, taking a discount is going to give you a Super Bowl? Are you sure about that? Damn, it's actually nice out here. It was cold this morning, but it's warmed up a bit. All right, y'all. I will see you guys later. Thanks for being here, being part of the chat and all that. I got to hit the road. See ya.